Yeah, let's take another, again, interview specific problem. So it says that you have been given a string. So there is a string of size n. Okay. So what you have to do is you have to find the length of longest substring containing distinct characters. So you have to find the length of longest substring. So if let's say there is a string from here to here, then you have to find a substring of longest length such that all the characters within this are distinct. So there is not even a single instance of repetition. So you have to simply tell me the length of longest substrings that has this particular character in it. That all the letters are different from each other. Okay, let us take an example. You have to find the length of you understand what is a substring, right? There can be multiple substrings, correct? So I am interested only in such substrings which have got distinct characters within them. Now there can be multiple such substrings. So I am interested in knowing the length of maximum length substring that has this property. If let's say my example is like this, A, B, C, this is a string. Can you tell me the answer for this case? I'm just interested in length and nothing else. Yeah, D to Q. And what is that length? So that length is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So here my output should be 11. So how can I solve this question? Yeah, definitely you can do it in n squared. So when you try to do it in n squared, then why is sorting required? Because the moment you sort, then the substrings will change, right? So sorting is like not a good thing to do, correct? So whenever somebody asks you for longest substring, subarray, please do not sort. Very bad idea. Okay, so what can I do? So the easiest approach is order n square approach, where you can just inspect all the subarrays. So what you can do is you can just start checking whether or not there is a subarray that starts from here and ends somewhere with all the distinct characters. Okay, so can you tell me, if this is my starting point, if I fix this end as my starting point, where should be my end point such that I consider the largest substring starting from A that does not have any repeating characters? So if you consider the portion from A to F, this can be the largest string that starts from A, okay, and does not have any repeating characters. The moment you happen to see that there is a C over here which is repeated, so all these are going to be useless just because of this, isn't it? So in that case, what will you do? Now you will check for the subarray starting from here. So that is a brute force approach, and I read the solutions written by two of you, and to an extent that is right. So just think of it in this way. Can you tell me, like, if this question is given to you, no matter how your string is going to look like, what can be your minimum value of answer? 1. Okay, great. And when will 1 be your answer? Of course, if the input string is of size 1, the answer will be 1. The answer will be AB, right? Yeah. But when you have a string in which all the characters are same, in that case your answer will be 1. So that is the important thing to understand over here. So what I can do is that I can, just like the last question, I can initialize my segment. Okay, so I'll have let's say pointer P1 over here and a pointer P2 over here. Okay, and now what I'll do, I'll start my journey from this character. If I see that this character is not repeated, then I'll expand my window. Okay, so this character is not repeated, so my window expands. Is this character repeated? C, is it repeated? No. So the window expands. Till where will it go? Till where will it keep expanding? So it will keep expanding till F. Okay. D is not repeated, so expands. E is not repeated, expands. F is not repeated, expands. C is repeated. C is repeated. So now my P2 is over here. Can somebody tell me at this point of time, when I see that the next character already comes in this window, in my window, at this point of time, what would you want to do? So start from D. What do you mean by start from D? So after A, this is not D, this is B, right? So would you want to move P1? Yes, you would want to move P1, right? Because now there can be no substring that starts from here and goes further ahead, crossing this. So this was the maximum length that I could have gained. So I will capture this length somewhere. Every time I increment my pointer, I just check what is my current length, and my current length. Can you tell me what will be my length at any point of time? Yeah, P2 minus P1 plus 1. Okay, so I'll just check if this length is greater than currently and acquired length, and I'll keep on changing that. So this is 6, so currently my answer will be 6. Initially it was 1 and now it got changed till 6. Okay, the moment you see that there is a character which had been repeated before, so tell me one thing, in this point of time you would want to move P1, but is it a good idea to move P1 just till here? Is it a good idea? So if you have moved P1 by 1 unit, would it allow you to consider this C? No, it would not allow you to consider this C. So can you tell me till what point would you try to move P? Yes. So you would move this P as long as this particular character has not been stripped off. Because there cannot be a string that starts from here, okay, and crosses this. And since that will have a length smaller than this, so there is no use of considering that string. There is no use of considering this string. Okay. The moment you see that there is a character which was repeated, so you need to know that where it was repeated. So you need to just move it on and on and on till you get complete rid of it. Okay. Now once you have crossed the last occurrence of this, now your P1 is here. Now are you safe to include this? Yes, you are safe to include this. And then so on and on and on, right? Now again you see this G, it does not come, K, it does not come, L, it does not come. So this would be the maximum length encountered by you till any point of time. The most important thing over here is to know, so I was very happy from here till here. I became a bit sad when I saw that this was repeated. Is there a way in which I can check whether a particular character is already a part of my window or not? Yes, I can have a frequency array. And basically I can have a frequency array of characters. So you can just have a frequency array, and for this question, I am just imagining it out of nowhere that all my characters are from A to Z. If all my characters are from A to Z, then what should be the size of my frequency array? It should be 26, right? It should be 26. And the moment I get any character which is, let's say, S of I, then it should reside at Si minus ASCII value of small a, right? But if this is not the constraint, then what should be the size of it? Then you have to take care of, then there are 256 different characters, supported characters. So in that case, its size should be 256. So be aware of that. Here I am assuming that my characters are from A to Z. Okay. So at this point of time, my question was that once you are here, you can very easily check whether this character was repeated or not. Okay. Now, once it has been repeated, so you will start moving this and you will overtake the last occurrence of this. Now tell me one more thing. While you are overtaking the last occurrence of this, would you want to do some changes in the frequency of A, B and C? Yes, you would want to make their frequency 0, because if you do not make the frequency of A and B as 0 and C as 0, if let's say you are here and let's say there was an A over here, if you would not have converted its frequency to 0 and its frequency to 0 while trimming it, would you have been able to consider this A again? Would you have been able to consider? No. So this is another most important point, okay? That while you are trimming these characters off, trimming them off means what? Trimming them off means that your code having this ability to consider them again. Now you will not be able to consider them again until unless you make your code aware of the fact that, hey, they are gone. And how do you make your code aware of that fact? By decrementing their frequency back to 0. This array that you create, this array can be a frequency array, okay? And I can say one more thing, that this array can also be a position array, okay? So basically position of, let's say, F tells me that at what index does it come in my window. Okay, so why I am preferring to, although it is not required, you can do your job with frequency array also, but why I am going to use position array is that, let's say my current substring was this much, now I know that C comes, so I know that the previous position of C is at index 2, so I'll move it till index 2 has been crossed. That is the reason I am willing to create position array, although it is not needed, because you can figure that out by immediately checking whether the last character was C or not. Okay, so you can do both way. You can use frequency array also, and you can use position array also. Again, like, this is not very much essential. I'm just doing, so I just want to write the code, so let me just write it for now. I'll have this position array with me. So let us assume that characters can be anything. Okay, so my position array will be of size 256, and I would want to initialize them. Okay, I would want to initialize them. So can you tell me how should I initialize them? Just imagine that currently my window does not contain any characters. My window is of length 0 and there are no characters in it. So what should I do? Initializing them to 0 is not a right idea, because if you initialize them to 0, you say that, hey, the character whose ASCII value is 50, its position is here. The character whose ASCII value is 20, its position is 0. So that is not the right idea. So you should initialize them to null or -1. So please take care of these things. Again, these are the small mistakes that you make. Proper initialization is the most important thing in your 2 pointers code. So you can initialize everything to -1. This is not the way to do it. I'm doing it wrongly over here because I'm writing pseudocode. Okay, you know how to do it. Okay. Now what I'll do, I'll start with a window of this much, and let's say every window is denoted by a starting point and ending point. Then I would want to initialize my S and E. How should I initialize them? What should be my initial value of S and E? They should be 0, right? Because my current interval is from 0 to 0. And what is my length? So let's say I'm tracking the maximum length so far in a variable answer. So currently my answer would be 1. Apart from doing this much, is there something else also that I should do? Because you have considered the 0th character in your window. So should you not modify the position array for it? Yes. You just considered 0th element. Yeah. So what you should do is you should say position of A of 0 is equal to 0, because its index is at 0. Now you start from this index, which is j equals to 1. So what you can do is you can do j equals to 1, and can somebody speak about termination condition? Both the pointers are forward moving. So when do I terminate? Yeah. So while I have not hit the end of array. Okay. So this S and E are there. J is just like an auxiliary index, but J is just like, J points to the next character that I wish to include. Okay. So by the time my J has become a dot length, I would want to terminate. Okay, cool. So let's say I am here. So currently my S and E both are here. Guys, I am writing the code because some people find it a bit messy to write 2 pointers code. I'm just giving you an idea that in a code where this end is also moving and this end is also moving, and certain times you have to move this end more than 1 unit of time, how to write a clean code for that. I'm just trying to give you an idea for that. So look at it not from functional perspective, look at it from best practices of coding perspective. Okay, cool. So what is the first thing that you will do? How do you decide whether this jth character is to be taken or not? So for that you will check what does the position array say. So if the position array says that the value corresponding to this is -1, can somebody tell me what should I do here? Can I include the next element? Yes, I can include the next element. So including the next element means what? That I'll update my position array for that element, for that character, and it will be j. And now I'll do e++. So now my e points to this. So this is my normal happy case where my e pointer moves by 1 unit, right? Which pointer should move now, S or E? Which one? S. And now comes the main question from my side. Guys, Everyone please be aware, I already spoke, no, this is not for functional perspective, this is for coding perspective, and later on when you find difficulty writing the code, you might miss it. Okay, so understand it clearly. So now my s, do I want to change s just by 1 unit? Do I want to change s just by 1 unit? Okay, so somebody is saying make s equals to position of something plus 1. Is that the right thing to do? Because you want to, strip off these elements, you want to convert the frequencies or position of all the elements till c equals to -1, right? So for that purpose you would want to write a while loop. These are the things that people miss, okay, although I had told you. So for that, what I'll do, I'll store that till where I have to go, till where I have to strip. So I have to strip till position of repeated character. Position of repeated character is present here, and I can store it in a variable k. Okay, and then what I can do is I can move from s till k. So for that I can run a for loop, I varying from s till k. What I'll do, I'll strip those characters off. So stripping those characters off means position of ai being equal to -1. So by this much amount of time you would have gotten rid of the previous occurrence of this c. So now you would have been here. So now your s should be made to point to this. Okay, so your I would actually have reached over here. So you can do s equals to I. Now when your s comes over here, you'd want to include this. Now are you free to include this? Are you free to include that c now? Yes. And how can you include that? What is the way to include that? The way to include that is by doing e++. So the moment you do e++, your e actually comes over here. Okay, and the moment your e comes over here, you would want to do one more thing. You would want to say that position of this a of e is equals to e. So this is your else part. And now in every iteration, irrespective of if where you just moved e, or else where you not only moved e but you also moved s, okay, you have to track the answer. So your answer will be max of original answer comma e minus s plus 1, and then every time you will do j++. Okay, I mean it is not a big thing, you can understand it later also, or maybe when you try to code it on your own you should be able to understand. My intention was just to give you an idea how to write it, because within one while there is another loop that is going to come, either in if condition or else condition, and some people, they go nuts while writing the code for it. They do many small mischiefs and later on they get error. So I was just trying to give you a very fair idea that hey, have if and else and decide where you want for loop to come. Okay, and then first initialize properly. So if you keep these best practices in your head, you will not have a lot of problem. Time complexity, yeah, why the time complexity is 256 into n? Why is it 256 into n? What is the time complexity, guys? It is just order n. I mean, I would be interested in know what made you think it has 256 into n. Where are 256 operations happening over here? Nowhere, right? Order 256 time to initialize this, and then here I can clearly say that any character is being touched at max 2 times and not more than that. Because for negating, no, but how? I mean, why you are multiplying with n? I hope you got it right. My each iteration does not contain 256 operations in them. That is not the right way to look at it. Right way to look at it is just that every element is being touched at max 2 times by s or by e. Okay, guys, I have one more question. So here in the else part, I have to move my s by 1111 unit every time. Can somebody think of a logic to avoid it? Instead of crawling s by 1 unit every time, can you think of a way to avoid it? That is a bit easy. Just think of it in this way. So let's say you had everything from here to here in your current substring, okay, which was A, B, C, D, E, F, and here you had C. So tell me one thing, one of you said that, hey, why don't you do something like this, that you convert this S as position of C plus 1. So, okay, even in this code, this is the change to S that is getting made. Yes or no? Can you type that? Even in this code, the change to S is this only, right? But what is different? The difference comes over here, okay, where I make the frequency, or sorry, make the position of this, this and this as -1, right? So can you think of a way where you do not have to make that change at all? So I can suggest a way. So just do this much, okay, and change this logic to something like this. If you see that position of AJ is smaller than S, then do this thing. Now if your S came over here, okay, now let's say an A comes at some point of time, you will check the position of A and you will definitely find that the position of A, whatever it is smaller than S. If it is smaller than S, that means it is not a part of window. Since it is not a part of window, it can be included. So it will happen for the C also, right? That the past position of this C would be 2, and 2 is smaller than 3, which is the value of S. So you'd want to include it and you'd want to update it. Now let's say if there was an K, the position of K is already -1, and -1 will always be smaller than S. So you can include this. And if let's say there was a B, the position of this B would have been 1, and 1 is smaller than this S. So you can include it. So what is the philosophy behind this? The philosophy behind this is that if position of a character, if previous position of a character is smaller than S, that clearly means that that character is not a part of my current window. Since it is not a part of my current window, I can include it. This was given by student in one of the batch itself, okay, and I was particularly impressed with this. So you can do that. In that case, you do not need so much of drama. Are you getting this? You do not need so much of clutter if you follow this logic over there, okay. So constantly improvise rather than just sticking to what I am saying.